Chatters, chatties, welcome home for a Great American Chat, a podcast where we chat about great American media. I'm Chad Maurice, and today we are diving into this year's Great American Christmas movies. We're starting off with Christmas Wreaths and Ribbons. But before we get into that, I need to let you know the Great American Book Club is meeting on Wednesday, October 30th. Cammie and Father Randy will be discussing A Christmas Miracle for Daisy by Jane Porter, which was actually one of the movies back in 2021. So that movie was based on this book. So that should be a good one. You can sign up for the book club at greatamericanfamily.com and they will send you the Zoom link. They'll email it to you. And my face looks really red. Oh, I think it's because of this background. Oh, if I move back, it doesn't look as red. But then I'm farther away from the mic. All right. Well, we'll just go with it. All right, let's get into Christmas Wreaths and Ribbons. This one premiered on Saturday, October 12th. Stars Kristin Wollett and Casey Elliott. It's written and directed by Brittany Wiscombe. The synopsis says a wreath maker slips on ice and injures her arm, which puts her holiday wreath deliveries in jeopardy until a selfless neighbor steps up to keep her business afloat. Here is our cast of characters. We have Rebecca. She is a stubborn, set-in-her-ways woman who doesn't like neighbors, and she owns Wreaths and Ribbons, and she makes wreaths year-round. Jason is Rebecca's neighbor, and he owns a bakery with his family. Angie is Rebecca's friend, the woman there with the red scarf on. And Miranda in the yellow sweater is Jason's sister. And then down at the bottom, we have the parents, Jason's mother and father. And Jason's mother is just as stubborn as Rebecca. And then we have Rebecca's mother and father. And her father is the grumpy patient from Prescription for Love. So this movie starts off, we see Rebecca working in her wreath store. And the name of her store is called Wreaths and Ribbons. We meet her friend Angie, who asks her to lunch, but Rebecca says she is way too busy for lunch. It's Christmas. It's her busy time of year. It's December. So a meet cute occurs early in this movie. Rebecca gets home from work, and there's this red pickup truck blocking half of her driveway. She says to her neighbor, Jason, hey, are you having a party or something? One of your guests is blocking my driveway. He says, oh, that's my cousin. He failed his driver's test 3 times because he doesn't know how to park. Jason's mother says Rebecca is alone. That is why she doesn't like people parking in her driveway. Oh, what a ridiculous thing to say. No one would like their neighbor blocking their driveway. It doesn't matter whether they're single or married. What is she talking about? Jason's mom and his sister Miranda have a discussion about changing the peppermint cream pie recipe at their bakery. Mommy Dearest won't listen to her, even though Miranda's recipe is quicker to make and tastes just as good. Next morning, Rebecca leaves for work. She turns her TV off, even though it isn't turned on. She slips on the ice outside her front door and lands on her right elbow. Jason comes to her rescue and takes her to the ER. She has a dislocated elbow. She is not very grateful about Jason helping her out when she fell. Jason accidentally insults her when she tells him that she makes wreaths, and he says, that's your business? That keeps you busy? She gives him a dirty look. She is worried about her business since Christmas is her busy season. Sure is. Oh, then we see Angie and Rebecca walking into her store. Now, I got to point out, did you see the Destined at Christmas Easter egg in this movie? If you look On the shelf there, to the left of Angie in this picture, you can see the Destined at Christmas countdown calendar. Ha ha! Pretty cool. I love that Brittany put that calendar in this movie. It was hilarious. I got a chuckle out of that. I didn't notice it the first time I watched the movie, but I noticed it the second time. Pretty funny. So Rebecca's mother and Angie convince her that she needs to hire someone to help her. Angie helps her put a help wanted ad online. Then Rebecca bad mouths Jason to Angie and then finds a fresh baked loaf of bread outside her front door that Jason dropped off. You see, because Jason is a sweetheart, even though Rebecca doesn't like him. Then we get a funny scene when Rebecca interviews 3 people. The interviews don't go well. The first guy is a college student who's only available before 7 a.m. and after 9 p.m. The second person is allergic to plants and pine. And the third guy is on crutches and has a more difficult time getting around than Rebecca does. Yeah, so that added some humor to the movie. Jason stops by her shop, and we get a better look at the Destined at Christmas countdown calendar. There it is in this picture. You can see it right at the bottom left corner of the screen there. That's funny. I think the date is set for December 21st, I believe it says on there. So that must be the day the scene of this movie occurs. So she tells Jason she's having problems finding someone to help her. So he offers. She teaches him how to make a wreath. She's not happy with the job he does, and she also doesn't like the way he sweeps the floor. He makes her taste his mother's and sister's peppermint cream pie and explains his mother won't use his sister's recipe because it's different than hers. Rebecca says that's ridiculous. Just because it's different doesn't make it wrong. She then realizes he's using the pie as a metaphor for the way she is treating him. Ho, ho, ho. Pretty tricky there, Jason. Now, have you ever had someone bark instructions at you from a distance? Yeah, it's not very fun. Angie is on Team Jason. She tries to convince Rebecca to give him a chance. Rebecca swallows her pride and goes over to Jason's house and catches him wearing a Christmas apron and apologizes for being so demanding. She tells him she made drawings of what she wants the wreaths to look like. She says she drew them with her left hand even though she is right-handed. No, there is no way that she drew those drawings with her non-dominant hand. Did you see those drawings? They were pretty detailed, I would say. They looked pretty darn good. I think this whole thing is a ruse. I think she is left-handed, and she doesn't even need Jason's help. She's just using him. That's what I think. At least that's what I was thinking when I saw her drawing that stuff with her left hand. So everyone thinks Rebecca has a cold heart. But we find out she donates a wreath every week to the church. Oh, that's nice. She asks Jason if he is going to take over the bakery when his parents retire. He says everyone expects me to, but I want to open my own restaurant. Rebecca tries to give him a paycheck, but he refuses. She says, "You are different than what I thought." Yeah, that's because you never took the time to get to know him or to talk to him. She explains that she has trust issues, no kidding, because a former coworker stole her interior designs. She says anyone who tries... Wait a minute. She says anyone who tries to be nice to her, she thinks must have a motive. Jason asks, what is my motive? She says, I don't know. I can't figure you out. He says, do you think it's because I care? She says, I don't know. He says everyone deserves to have someone in their life who cares about them, and so do you. Rebecca offers to take him out to dinner to pay him for the work he has been doing. He says, I have a better idea. He treats her to freshly baked bread at his bakery, which is not much of a dinner. Angie tells them about some nativity art show and convinces Jason to pick Rebecca up so they can go together. She tells Rebecca it's a date. Rebecca says it's not a date. So they go. And while they're there, Rebecca picks out a nativity set that she really likes. She doesn't buy it, but she tells Jason that she really likes it. Rebecca offers to take Jason out for dinner again. He says, let's get takeout this time, and then takes her to the place where he wants his future restaurant to be. And he has a key to this building, even though he doesn't own the building. How he has a key, I have no idea. I couldn't figure that one out. He says he can't decide between a relaxing sit-down restaurant or a fast food joint. She says, why don't you make it both? He says, it's not the right time for him to be starting another business. His parents need him at the bakery. She asks about his sisters and if they would like to take over the bakery. He says, no, it's just up to him. Rebecca realizes she hasn't started Christmas shopping yet, so she and Angie go shopping. Angie says, you're going to miss seeing Jason when Christmas is over. Rebecca says, no, I won't. He lives right next door. Angie convinces her that there is something between the two of them. Jason offers to help her wrap her presents, and she surprisingly takes him up on his offer. They touch hands while wrapping, and they give each other a look. Okay, now we're up to the conflict of this movie. It occurs when Rebecca stops by the bakery to give something to Jason and overhears him talking to his parents. She hears his family telling him that she has taken advantage of him. He tells his family that she can be difficult, impatient, stubborn, hyper-focused, and frustrating. She hears that and she leaves before she hears the end of the sentence. Jason says, but she is like this because she is trying to do her best on her own. He says she is talented and generous. So Rebecca's parents show up to help her make wreaths. Jason arrives at her shop and she tells him to get lost. He says, okay, see you at the Christmas market? She says, maybe. We'll see about that, buddy. Okay, so at the Christmas market, Angie realizes there is some tension between Rebecca and Jason. Jason confronts Rebecca and says, hey, what's going on? She admits that she overheard him talking to his family, saying how bad she is. He says, yeah, but you didn't hear me tell them how wonderful you are. He says, I've enjoyed spending time with you. She says, that doesn't matter. Our lives need to go back to the way they used to be. I don't need your help anymore. Jason's family can tell that he is bummed out about something, so his mother has a talk with him and says, I can tell you are not happy. He opens up to her and says, I want to start my own restaurant. She says, I think that's a great idea. Jason decides to get Rebecca that nativity scene that she liked at that nativity show they were at. She unwraps it while exchanging gifts with her parents on Christmas Eve. On Christmas Eve? What are they doing opening presents on Christmas Eve? You always open presents on Christmas morning. At least normal people do. Do you open presents on Christmas Eve? No, I never heard of that. Okay, so after she opens up this nativity set that Jason got her, she runs next door to talk to him, to thank him for the gift, but he is at the bakery. So she heads to the bakery and forgives him for all the nasty things he said about her. He says, I want to be more than just friends, and plants a kiss on her. And that's it. They baked and made wreaths happily ever after. But did Jason open his restaurant? Who knows? I don't know. I think that should have been examined more, I think. But let's chat about this movie. Okay, so I think this was an okay start to the Christmas season. Like I said in my preview episode, I predicted that this wouldn't be the best movie of the year, but that it would be cute. And that was pretty much spot on to what this movie was. It was okay, just an average watch. It wasn't bad, and it wasn't fantastic. This movie had 3 title changes. The original title was Wreath Maker Christmas. Then it got changed to Wreaths and Ribbons. And then of course, there's a law you have to have the word Christmas in the title of a Christmas movie, so they added Christmas Wreaths and Ribbons. Even though I think Wreaths and Ribbons would have been a better title because that was the name of Rebecca's store. So I think that title would have been really appropriate. I thought the leads were good together in this one. Casey and Kristin. Right, that's her name, right? Yeah. I thought they were good together. I liked the character development with Rebecca and how her heart grew 3 sizes bigger during the movie. She started off as not very likable, but she warmed up during the movie. Now, people online were saying about this movie, they were criticizing this, saying it was real slow moving, which is true. It was in some parts, and there's not a lot of plot to this movie. It's just about this guy helping his neighbor make wreaths. That's the whole story. There is a B storyline, though, and that is Jason wanting to open a restaurant. I think this could have been a bigger storyline. I think maybe it would have made the movie a little bit more interesting. The conflict in this movie is the old classic conflict of someone eavesdropping on a conversation and then leaving before they hear the end of the conversation. I think there could have been even some added conflict between Jason and his family if they opposed of him opening his restaurant. I think maybe that could have added a little more oomph to all of this. I don't know. The thing, like I said before, what I'm left wondering after watching this movie is, did Jason ever open his restaurant? I think it would have been nice to see him opening his restaurant and to see Rebecca helping him in the restaurant the way that he helped her in her store. I think that would have been good. As far as tropes go in this movie, there's no interrupted kiss. So that was nice, because sometimes those interrupted kisses, they get on my nerves sometimes. There's no snowball fight, no snowman making, and there's no baking montage, which surprised me because part of this movie is about a bakery. There is a wreath making montage, though, so that was nice because I've never seen a wreath making montage before. But what I really liked about this movie, the thing that stood out about this movie to me, I liked that we saw the Destined at Christmas countdown calendar show up in a couple of scenes. I thought that was hilarious. Really enjoyed that. So this was a good subdued start to the Christmas season. Bobby, in one of my Christmas preview episodes, says that she doesn't like to be blown away with Christmas exploding on her TV in October, and I can understand that. And that's kind of what this movie was. It wasn't very little Christmas in it, you know. There were a few decorations in the background, but no flashy Christmas outfits or anything like that, which, in October you may not want to see that. I don't know. So I think this was a good way to ease into the Christmas movie season. Now, in the next episode, I'm going to be chatting about a vintage Christmas. And I thought it'd be fun this year to have a little Great American Christmas movie battle between all these movies. So in my latest post on social media, I posted about, I asked people to vote for which movie they like better, Christmas Wreaths and Ribbons or A Vintage Christmas. And whoever wins the vote will go up against this weekend's premiere movie, A Christmas Castle Proposal. So if you haven't gotten a chance, check out that post and tell me which movie you like better, this movie or A Vintage Christmas. And of course, you can find me on the socials on Instascam, YouTube, and Facebook at Great American Chat, and at X it's at GA Chat Podcast, and on the web at greatamericanchat.com. If you don't want to comment on the social media posts, you can just shoot me an email at chad@greatamericanchat.com. That's it for now. Until next time, you keep the faith, keep smiling, keep your friends close, and keep your great American family closer.